it is chilly in Southern California, and nobody wants to hear about it. The rest of the country's like, oh, I live in a snowbank in Buffalo. Well, it's nice here because it was like 88 degrees not that long ago, like a couple days ago. And we built a fire last night. I'm curling up.
Where?
Yeah.
In that
What do you mean
holder?
where?
In that thing outside or inside?
In the fireplace. The
You
thing
have
outside.
that outside thing too.
Yeah, but that's just like a press a button Persian restaurant light fixture. This is we put it in that we had to go to the country store. We had to get the fire. We brought the log back.
You got the
and
fire.
We built the fire, and Noah tends to it anyway. It was nice.
Are you worried about the Tianfu jumping into the fire? Because I was always worried about that.
That's an insane. No, like on a basic instinct level, animals know that fire is dangerous.
I don't
like
know
babies.
that they all do.
They all do. If you strike a match around a dog, they like back up.
Okay.
And she is definitely not cool. And then every time something would crack in the fire, she'd be on like high alert. She's not cool about dying. She gets it. They understand death. They really do. They know what they do. Unhealthy fear of things like water and moving chairs, but fully understand what fire is.
I just read about an intuitive thing we all do, which is, when kids draw a picture and they put the sun in it, they always put the sun in a corner, right? Like you never put the sun in the middle. And I read that it's because even as like a kid, you have some sense of like, if it was in the middle, it would be too close. And by putting it to the side, the perspective puts it further away. And that even in like cave paintings, they did the same thing. Like that you have some awareness of perspective. And
yet, Icarus had no sense of that, and his wings melted.
Just flew right up there.
I mean, in all honesty, he probably flew 30 feet in the air. Like, there's no way he like broke the stratosphere.
Just his hot, like he was probably sweating and his back just melted those feathers.
Or he died because his fake wings didn't work. Oh, you're telling me that this guy in Greek mythology invented wings before, thousands of years before the first plane? Okay, cool. Fun fact for the women out there with children, I guess, and men too, but my mom used to do this. When we were little, my brother, we'd be in the back seat of the car, and my brother, of course, blaming my mother for all things, would be like, the sun's in my eye. And my mom would talk to Mr. Sun about being in Ben's eye. And what she was doing was timing it for when she turned, and she knew the sun wouldn't be on like coming in through his side. So it'd be this very long, waiting for her to turn. But if we were on like a main road, like a freeway, she would just be talking to him like, and I know you don't mean to hurt him, Mr. Sun. And we turn and make it go away. So my brother thought my mom controlled the sun. Mr. Sun, get it out of my eye. She did it. And then I was like, I know what's going on.
Oh, you figured it out.
I don't know. Only recently. You guys, you've got questions. We've got red hot answers. Got that red hot fire. That advice coming your way. Kicking it off. Inching closer to mass vaccinations, public acceptance of political outcomes, and science. Trying to get our lives back together. Watching my career continue to disintegrate as we push dates farther and farther back. And it's been really humbling. Kick it.
Anonymous. Hey, Iliza, love the podcast.
I feel like all you do is anonymous ones, and I'm sick of it.
Okay.
You always do. What? Every episode, you're like, anonymous, and it's like, okay, cool.
Okay.
You gotta dig into what people are asking.
Okay.
This is not anonymous. This is not the anonymous show.
This one?
Yeah, only because you started, and I don't want to hurt their feelings, their anonymous feelings.
Love the podcast. I need help making a big decision. I moved to South Carolina about 5 years ago. I have a great career here, and I love it, but I find myself getting very homesick and missing my family back in Vermont. I recently found out that my sister is pregnant. I don't want to be absent in my niece or nephew's life. I'm debating moving home. I'm nervous that I will regret staying in South Carolina, but I also feel like I'll regret leaving. Please help. Y'all, love y'all. Kick it.
Kick it. I would have thought it was funny. She's like, I'm in South Carolina and I'm missing my family in northern South Carolina. Huge cultural shift. This is tough. I don't know what you do for a living. I think that's an odd excuse.
She wants to go be near the kid.
Yeah, but
some people are really into being like Aunts and uncles.
Maybe. Do you want to have kids of your own? Oh, you can't ask a woman that. Or you could be a dude. I think you're a girl though, for sure. I don't think a guy would have. They'd be like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. It sounds to me, based on almost nothing, that you're being homesick is valid.
Yeah.
If you move there just for a job, like a job's just a job, but I would dig a little bit deeper. And wonder, what are the reasons you left Vermont? Were you like, I got to get out of here? They used maple syrup instead of water. Or was it just for the job? Do you not like living there? I think I would dig a little bit deeper. The catalyst, maybe that, but that can't be just the reason, just to be around the kids. Unless family is just like the thing. Does your sister even care? Have you asked her?
Yeah, I wonder, like, if you move home and she's like, get out of here.
Yeah, we don't need this. We don't need you to make spaghetti every Monday. No one likes it.
Every Monday.
I'm like, hey guys, it's me. That's your sister, Claude. And it's Spaghetti Mondays that no one asked for. Open your meatball. So I would just dig a little bit deep. Maybe you're lonely. I mean, I doubt COVID is as in full effect as it is here over there. Do you have are you trying to date? And that's not happening. And do you think moving home will be the answer? Some people do like to move back home, but what are the reasons you moved in the first place? Don't give up on it just because the going got tough for a little bit. And think about where you see yourself. This is your exercise in 10 years. And do those goals, are you able to meet those goals in Vermont? Or do you need to be in the bustling megatropolis that is South Carolina? Are you in Charleston? Obviously.
And with
right?
COVID,
where else would you go?
Are you even allowed to see a baby?
I feel like Vermont's like, we're fine. It's too cold here. We're fine. So yeah, I think it's not about the kids. I think it's something else. I would dig a little deeper. Kick it.
Keck_BJJ Cop. Hello, Iliza, Emily, and sweet baby girl. I loved your show.
Sweet Chinese chicken. She looks like a little chicken.
Okay, I loved your show in Des Moines in 2019. I was rewatching Unveiled for the umpteenth time and wondered how much you had to practice the Daniel section. And did you make any mistakes with this section during taping or while testing this material at the clubs? I'm always impressed with the speed at which you can talk and your breath control. Thank you. And I cannot wait for the next tour and for your return to Iowa.
I'm very impressed by that too. And it is something that weirdly comes very naturally to me.
Yeah.
I practice, quote unquote, that bit just as much as the other bits. You don't independently do it outside of the entire act. That, for some reason, that whole thing about the best man and Mary, all this stuff, I made it up one night. I just did. A kind of, I believe, closer toward taping. Like this wasn't something that I had been doing for the full year. Some things just come very clear to me in like spurts like that. And that was one of them. So no, I never messed up. We only did 2 tapings. We only do 2 tapings for a special. And so 2 different audiences. Never messed up. Sometimes it is just like reading a script out of your own brain. And then sometimes you're just like, which part of the joke comes next? It's like if you ever had to memorize lines, there are some lines that are written so weird, it's really hard to memorize them, and some that just flow. I always think that that's like the sign of a great writer. But for my stand-up, it's my own thoughts. So it's easier to connect thoughts in my head. Like, of course, it goes this, and then we do the dance, and then he says this, and then there's the sunglasses. Of course, I don't remember the bit now. So no more or less practicing than any of the other bits that were in it. And a lot of things are improvised, but I think that's part of, as you go on in a career, that's part of the skill and the talent, the innate talent versus, and the craft of it, I guess, is all of that stuff. That's the stuff that you can't buy. But that's the answer. I've done that bit in so long.
Question from me, Emily.
How do you do it all, Iliza? How do you wear your
when
pajamas
you
all
go
day?
back to touring, do you think you'll be doing the same stuff, or is it such a different work, like stuff that, because you were working, you basically always have like an hour ready to go. Like you're always working on a full new specials worth of material. So you were working on stuff when the world ended. Are you going to be doing some of that, all of that, none of that when you go back to stages in like 6 months?
That's a great question. And honestly, when the world shut down and then, 7 months later when we were allowed to practice our craft in the daylight again, in the nightlight, I thought like, oh my God, all of these things that I was talking about feel so trivial compared to what we've all just collectively gone through. But the truth is, stand up can be about the minutia. I mean, look at Seinfeld. Look at these are just things that are funny, and no one's counting on me to give a State of the Union. And from the small seeds of little annoyances come these larger points. So there's a couple things that I was working on pre-pandemic, but I wove them into what we did during the drive-in tour. And then because of the local sets that I've been doing, I've got little bits of things. So it will be almost completely different. I do want to say, people see your special and then they're like, oh, I don't want to see you on tour. Between the time the special comes out and that you see me, there's usually enough time that it's a new act. I've never had someone say, oh, it's super similar. So it's always evolving, ever moving. You will not be seeing anything that you saw on Netflix when you see me in person.
Right. By the time your special comes out on Netflix, you already have taped it months in advance.
Yeah. So, but also, so by this time, we got a lot of new stuff to talk about. Here, I'll tell you a little tidbit of something I'm working on right now. I wrote it down. What did I say? Go to the bottom of my notes. I want to
deal with masks.
Well, I don't want to talk about COVID, but people have started saying the phrase like, I'm having a good COVID. Like they've acted like it's a holiday. Like there's something to and a good COVID unto thee. A restful COVID unto thee. It's this weird. It's really just that one line. It's not so much a joke as just a throwaway. And I got a whole thing about whales. And you will be hearing whale noises. Oh my God. This girl this morning, I saw a tweet. And it was like name some comics or whatever. This girl was like, I'd like to see more specials. I'd like to see these people back on Netflix. And she named me and like a couple of other comics. And I'm like, but I have 5 specials. Like, did you not dig? Because these people don't. No tea, no shade, but like they don't. And then she was like, and then she singled me out and in parentheses wrote, I'd like to see more of Iliza minus the annoying animal noises. And I'm like, first of all, that's so pointed. And you tagged me. So I can't tell if you're a fan or foe. Second of all, it was one sheep. Oh, and the bird and the peacock. It's not like I'm just like a menagerie up there. Anyways, that was a really shitty thing to say. And you're getting whale noises in 2021, 2022.
Just to spite that poster.
I actually wrote the joke down last night and then I saw that this morning. I was just like, whatever. Okay, I'll just get up there. I'll sound like everyone else. That was whale for fuck you. Kick it.
Megan Northway, hi from Scotland. I had COVID over Christmas, and one of the symptoms I had was loss of taste and smell. I've since recovered, but I swear tastes are not as delicious as they used to be. Things are just a little muted. Did you or anyone else have lasting taste loss? I miss tasty times.
Tasty times, especially in Scotland, which is such a whimsical country. The national mascot is a unicorn. They have something, this girl's like, I know, I live there. But for the rest of you, Scotland is just an adorable, whimsical, medieval, tasty time. Medieval, there's nothing that was adorable about medieval times. But it is so cute. And they have something there called tablet. When you make fudge, like right before the sugar disintegrates, that's what tablet is. It's like a harder fudge. It's pure sugar. And I don't know why everyone in Scotland isn't 8,000 pounds, but it's outstanding. And they have tasty teas and they have I loved my time in Scotland. I stayed at the Balmoral and I walked every day. I made some friends there and I took the train to Glasgow where I learned some Glaswegian phrases. I learned the phrase bolt ya rocket, which means shut your fucking mouth. And we drank some iron brew, which was super gross. Anyways, I love Scotland. Scotland loves me. That's not true. Not many people came to the show. It was a really small venue. Muted, not for me. Emily, you have COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You said you already can't taste. You said you don't.
I feel like I don't have a strong sense of smell or taste already, but I just can't. I'm just congested, and so I can't tell what's that and what's like disease. But I will say Cokes have not tasted good, but I also don't know if that's because I didn't drink one for so long because I was trying to get better, and now my body is like, hold on a second.
You had enough cell turnover, and the new cells were like, what is this poison? I will tell you, I have a relative who claims that she lost her taste and smell. I believe it too. For like 5 to 6 months after she had COVID.
I've heard that.
I couldn't taste and smell for 5 days and it was back. So I hope that it gets better for you. I feel like these are things that get better. There are some people that have these lasting effects, but
that's
what's
a real crazy bummer. Is the long haul symptoms. Like, you have no idea if it's going to be like fucking what's going to be, where they're like, oh, it's been 3 months and now my heart stopped. It's like, what?
How are you talking to us beyond the dead? Honestly, get into spicy foods. Like, start entering those like hot chili pepper eating contests. Get really into all the different types of Mexican food and just get in there. Get you some Thai food and just down those chilies and just be a freak of nature and win some money and then get taste bud surgery. Kick it.
Honey_loves_Zelda. How do you reconcile leaving a toxic workplace? I just put in my 2 weeks at a job I've been at for 8 years that took such a toll on my mental health, but I kept making excuses to stay. I'm grateful for some of what it gave me, but also I am more fragile in terms of my depression and anxiety. I mean, that sounds like Stockholm Syndrome.
She's like, also, I live in South Carolina. I'm thinking of moving back to Vermont. I don't know, Emily. What do you think?
That I have Stockholm Syndrome for sure.
Whatever.
I'm in my apartment alone. Like, I wish I was at work. I'm so
That's
lonely.
Not nice. That's not nice.
I miss you.
No, you're saying you have a mental condition because I was your captor.
Because you're the only person I've been able to see for like 12 months. I haven't seen a single friend except when I cat sat. I haven't seen a human. All I see is you.
Yeah, but that's on you. Like, I see people.
Well, I'm not seeing anyone, and I got COVID, and it's not right.
I think you're excited that you can blame the fact that you have no friends on COVID.
I have friends, and I FaceTime with them, but it's exhausting.
Look.
Gotta hold my phone up.
My arms. How do you reconcile it? You know, a friend of mine took a gig. This is not the same, but it is similar. It was a TV gig. And nobody else wanted it. And it was like they threw her in. Like, they were mid-production and they just threw her in. And it was like 8 weeks. And it was horrible. And I didn't speak to her for 8 weeks because she was being such a bitch. No, I didn't speak to her for 8 weeks because she was so busy. And it was like ungodly hours. Like 6 a.m. to like midnight every night. Constant Slack chats, constant blue jeans, whatever weird office interface. Constant. And people were really mean. And it's that thing where it's like, well, if you don't want it, someone else will do it. Nobody cares. And everybody was beholden to these higher powers. So especially in production, it can be everybody's so afraid of losing their job that they're just mean and nobody cares. And you're kind of in the trenches. My point is, she finished and she was like, I let this boss of mine speak to me in a horrible way. I didn't stand up for myself. Of course, I sent thank you notes after we were done. Nobody wrote back. And I was like, trying to explain to her, like, you've just come out of something traumatic where you're replaying in your head all the times you wanted to say something and didn't. But the truth is, in the moment, it wasn't appropriate or it wouldn't behoove you. I would just give yourself some time to grieve, and not even so much grieve, but just remove yourself from that. Like, when you run a race, the second you cross the finish line, you don't stop. You keep walking and keep jogging for a couple paces because your body needs a chance to recalibrate and slow down. Same thing where when you go on vacation, you don't just hit the vacation. You're like, I'm relaxing, ultimate relaxation. Like, you need a beat to like get into it. Same thing if you were going to start running, you'd start stretching because you're going from one state to another and there's a transformation. So I would just cut yourself a break. Maybe if you want to see a therapist, do some breathing, do some yoga, give yourself a chance to realize this isn't happening anymore. Learn from those mistakes and look at it like a lesson. It took me 8 years, but what did I learn coming out of that? And even though, you feel fragile now because you're in like a gelatinous state, but you're going to emerge from this a lot stronger. It just takes some time and some perspective. It's not going to happen overnight. And going to the next job, you have a better sense of what you will and won't put up with what you will and won't put. So think about it. It's not, things happen for a reason.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up for being in that position. I mean, people need jobs, and you got out, and now you can start working on having a healthier work environment.
Like, I could tell you, and this is such a weird example, and it's no secret. Like, Last Comic Standing, that tour should have been amazing, and those guys were horrible. And it really, I'm not going to be like, oh, my mental health, but it did affect me. It did affect me long-term, short-term, in terms of walls, in terms of nervousness, whatever. And it takes a couple years to realize that the battle that you thought you were fighting doesn't exist anymore. So give yourself a break, and just be kind to yourself. That's all. Don't let people that don't think about you have a lasting impression on you. Take from it what you need. What skill set do you have? What ways do you stand up for yourself? What won't you put up with? Take from it what you need and leave everything else behind, because it'll never happen again. You wouldn't let it. Otherwise, you didn't learn your lesson, but you did.
Do you remember we had a listener who worked with someone who she thought basically had like Munchausen's, who was always complaining about having different ailments. And we were like, and you wanted more examples.
You're like, update, she died. Turns out they were all real. And we should have listened.
So, update from Anonymous. Thank you so much for featuring my question. I thankfully do have someone I can bitch to, but it's still annoying. So you asked me for some more details. Let me give you some examples. She claims to have asthma, but does not carry a rescue inhaler. She has flare-ups all the time that cause her to cough to the point of throwing up, but no rescue inhaler. I have asked her why she doesn't try prednisone to help with her flare-ups. My daughter has asthma, so I feel like I know what I'm talking about, but she refuses because she says she gained 70 pounds last time. Yeah, not how that works if you're using it short-term.
70?
Yeah. She tells us she has
a steroid. Honestly, when I've taken prednisone, like for my throat or something, I can see through time. Like, I feel jacked up. I feel ready to go. So much energy.
This would be angry in an emergency situation, though. Like, she wouldn't be taking it every day.
Wait, can I just say something? Yeah. I took a steroid pack when I'd hurt my my neck. Like, when we thought that would help, I took a steroid pack, and I took 2 steroid packs within 6 weeks, which is a huge no-no. It's really bad for you. And the first time you're feeling great, second time around, I find myself like, kind of like when athletes juice, like I found myself like a little irritable. And I told this guy that I work with, this executive, and he was like, can I tell you? And he's like a big dude. He's like, I was on a steroid pack one time and I found myself just like at the gym listening to speed metal. I was like on the elliptical for like 2 hours and I just like I was so angry at my girlfriend. And then I broke up with her and just like went to the gym. And then I had to apologize later because I realized I was just roiding out from a steroid.
Jacked up.
He was just like, fuck you, Linda. Anyways, it'll get you. But the 70 pounds thing, I don't know. I think she's lying. 70 pounds? Say, I want to see pictures.
Well, and then she tells us she has a blood disorder that only she has. It's just ridiculous. Not to mention, she talks about all her ailments to our customers that come in.
What do you do for a living? She's like, it's a cake store, so it's super gross.
That I don't know, but that's so inappropriate, and this woman is clearly insane.
She's a doctor, and that's what she's doing. Yeah.
A blood disorder that only she has?
Only she's identified. What if she's a genius? Yeah, it's weird. I think you think you should start with what's legally not allowed. Not legally, but I think technically, like at work, you don't want someone, you should call an HR and be like, you cannot talk to people about your discharge.
About your
what color it is.
Vomits. Ugh.
Yeah. So,
although I do. Gracie is the only cat allergic to a certain medication, so I'm with her on that. I would just
look. Okay. I would just look at her and be like, "Why are you telling me this? This is so gross, Susan." She'll be like, "Well," I just be like, why? That's so gross. I'm drinking. Like, I would just treat her like I don't know. It's tough. You're not me, and I probably wouldn't do this. I would just be like, I'm sorry. I actually have a rare gag disorder where anything you say makes me feel sick. It's just for me personally.
I'm very upset by people even threatening to throw up, so I wouldn't be able to handle that.
Does this bother you?
I don't like. You do a very good throw up noise, and I don't like it.
Oh, you know what it sounds like? Remember those like batons you could flip? Like, yow.
Yes.
It sounds like I'm rewinding someone throwing up and fast forwarding it. Yeah, she sounds really annoying, and it's unfortunate because I bet some of that stuff is real, but she realized just stop giving her attention. Try to rewire the electricity in that brain of hers.
When she goes to cough, barf, you just go about your...
You got to have your manager be like, we cannot have you doing this on the showroom floor, okay? We're at rooms to go. People are coming in for couches. It's disgusting. Kick it.
Leanna Joy Photography. With the announcement of the reboot of Sex and the City, where do you think all the women will be now?
What is that? First of all, I'm really bummed out that they couldn't work it out and that there will be no Samantha because she was funny. Now it was corny, cheesy, like a woman acting like a really campy gay guy, but the other women aren't funny. And her puns were actually pretty painful, but that character balanced it all out.
Yeah.
Even though no one actually lives like that.
No, but I liked her. It was all four of them together. They better not try to replace her. It better just be the three. If they bring in some other lady to be the no.
They're going to. And so what was so great about that show was it sort of the situations that they were on portend the future for younger girls, right? So you're watching that when you're a teenager and you're watching that in your early 20s and you're seeing these women who were in probably their late 20s, early 30s, whatever, when they were shooting it. And the situations still apply. Like he broke up with me on a Post-it note. The thing about the shoes, Charlotte exploring her sexuality. Like these are all things that are very real and all these social circumstances and all the different types of boyfriends and dating and all of that stuff and Miranda getting pregnant. These were all very real. And even as a woman now in my 30s, I still reference that show because it was all so steeped in reality and so steeped in your experience as a woman dating, especially in a big city. So what I would like to see from it is these women are now in their 40s, in their 50s, whether it's menopause or children or that second chapter. I'm excited to see that blueprint that they lay out, and I'm excited to see if my life follows suit because I think they do a really good job on capturing sort of what it is to be a woman. Yes, it's heightened circumstances, and yes, they live these fabulous lives. But, Charlotte was struggling with infertility. She was in a loveless marriage before that. Miranda probably dealt with being too smart for her own good and also being in a marriage that she wasn't that into. A lot of not that into marriages. And Carrie didn't want to have kids. So I think women can find bits of themselves in these women. So I'm excited to see what they go through and then what I have to look forward to / expect in life if they do a good job.
Do you think instead of writing in the paper, Carrie's going to have a podcast?
I wondered. That's what I should say. I wondered if I was getting some uptown. I couldn't help but wonder if I'd be getting downtown. Or whatever. It was always that. It was always meanwhile, across town, Miranda had a crossbody bag situation. There's always these delicious puns.
Across town, Miranda is once again wearing an all green outfit.
I never got to watch it on HBO. I watched it on TBS. And then as an adult, when I got the disc set, I realized how much sex was in it, despite the eponymous title. You don't see on TBS. It's just, the vanilla version. Yeah. And then I saw it. I was like, Jesus Christ. To this day, when I hear the HBO, I expect to hear do, 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 do. Anyway. I hope they keep the same intro.
I had never seen the show when the movie came out, but I went with the friends to see the movie. And then I was like, oh, this is pretty good.
So there's two. There's both movies. The one where they go to Dubai. What happens
the second one?
The wedding is the first one.
No, yes.
I saw it in Paris.
And the Charlotte poops.
Trying to tell you a story. Saw it in Paris on opening night. My boyfriend took me. We were in Paris. And that was very cool to see it in French. I think there were subtitles or there were French subtitles. You watch the show, by the way, people that pick at it, it's do you want to see a show? If you want to see a show about a single woman struggling in Manhattan, there are plenty. There is the fantasy of the beautiful way these women live. And I think that that's what the show is. It's fantasy. It's gay man fantasy. It's city it's just fabulous. And I look forward to it. All the outfits, all the everything. It's fun. It's fun to hate. It's fun to love. Do, 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 do. And it's been 2 hours. And that's the podcast. Have a great day.
JF_Gestagram, Aussie girl in a male-dominated world, maritime industry, Western Australia. Hey,
That's
legends.
A great way to introduce yourself. Aussie girl in a maritime world. I don't remember what she just.
Hey, legends, love your show. Love listening while out at sea and refitting engines on the boats.
Whoa.
Obviously, it is a male-dominated world, but goddamn, how hot are guys in high vis? My question being, I have formed a major crush on my boss. We are working on one boat in particular together. However, I am usually at sea and he is usually in the Perth office. I know you shouldn't screw the crew. I have had a relationship on another boat years ago, but he ended up cheating on me with another crew member. Anyway, this guy seems different. So much sexual chemistry and Aussie banter. Should I make a move?
I mean, are you in the military?
Maritime industry.
Okay, so you just work on a boat.
Engines on boats. So it may just be boat stuff with no army stuff.
By the way, I totally thought you were a lesbian when you were reading all that. Bitch, just basically based on the way you introduced yourself. But like, leave it to an Aussie to be like, by the way, I'm straight, I'm super hot, and I'm tan, and I work in a thong. No shit's given. I just imagine you in like a crop top. I don't know what you look like, and just tan, so much hair, and just ripped, and just out there.
So much hair, like Nicole Kidman,
like from your head.
Early Nicole Kidman was still curly.
I'm not thinking of Nicole Kidman like you are, 24 hours a day. I said tan. She's just tall, and she's definitely not allowed in the sun. Anyway, I'm out there looking at my boss. My boss. It's probably not the best idea. The guy that cheated on you, whatever. And by the way, like a contained romance, like on a ship, yeah, that's going to be tough. Also, although it is interesting, if you're both on the ship, I'd be like, take a second look at that crush, because a confined space, you start to find people attractive that you wouldn't. But if you're not both on the ship, also how much older is he than you? If you sleep with him and things go awry, does that affect your career? Mm-hmm. I would think a couple steps out. And are you having sexual chemistry with him because is he the only, whatever the male version of a Shayla is? Is he the only guy in your proximity, or are you coming to shore? Or are you having a normal dating life? Think about, like, is he the only guy that's visible to you?
Right.
High vis, hot dudes, hotties.
What? Yeah. You got to weigh those consequences.
But I am super horny for you, and I'm pumped. I hope you guys have great sex. It probably won't be that great. It's like all this buildup, and they'll be like, "Oh, it came early, later," and you'll be like, "No." So I'm just saying, just check all your engines, check the check engine light, make sure you're servicing all the parts of your equipment before you dive in. It's a carburetor.
Hers and paws. My question is about dog park etiquette during COVID.
Really? Hers and paws didn't give away that it was going to be about an animal. Dog park etiquette.
Should I be asking people not to pet my dog? I go to the dog park often and keep a 6 to 10 meter distance between myself and other owners, but I'm wondering if I shouldn't be going at all, or if I should be asking people not to pet my dog for fear of germs spreading that way. Do you take the Snow Peach to the dog park? Thoughts?
Despite the fact that we live near a dog park, we do not take Snow Peach to the dog park. Snow Peach does not enjoy the dog park. The one time at the beginning of COVID that we took her, now granted, she was brand new baby. She found a dog with epilepsy that was hiding under a bench, and she sat with that dog. So didn't want to involve herself with the other dogs. Snow Peach should be socialized more, but she's baby. I'm not a medical professional. We take her for walks and we run into other couples with dogs, but we always have our masks on. I don't think Corona is really traveling on surfaces, especially dogs, in that way.
I feel like at first people did say don't do, like, people didn't want you petting their dogs because it's really tough. I don't know what the studies have.
I don't know. I know that people are disproportionately afraid. Like, what if they touch my pizza box and then I touch my pizza box? I don't really think that's the way this disease is traveling. I could be wrong. Sure, germs can be on the dog, but dogs don't get COVID. Hopefully you don't walk a gorilla, because that one gorilla has COVID. Maybe keep some wipes in your car. I think as long as you are using germ killer on your hands, and that's the barrier between you and your dog. It's tough. You bring the dog. What are you going to yell? Like, please don't pet, even though I brought my dog to a public place. I think it's okay. I have not gotten COVID, and some people have gotten close to my dog. So I think you're okay, but
don't put your mouth on the dog, mate.
It's just going to be really stressful for you to bring the dog to the park, and then first of all, you're assuming people want to touch your dog. What if you have like a poodle? No one wants to pet a poodle. So what? They don't. The hair's too curly. Kick it.
Erickson 6074. Hello, my fair ladies. Iliza Doolittle and Professor Higgins. LOL.
Oh my God. I never thought about that.
Isn't that crazy?
I was also like half listening. I was just like, what is this intro? And then, you're my Henry Higgins. No way. I teach you so much more than he taught her, and I'm pretty sure we both have pretty good diction. Pretty good diction. Wow. I was named after that movie.
Yeah.
And you were
not
named.
last named, but middle-aged men, like whenever I've been at internships or wherever, are always like, oh, like Professor Higgins. And I'm like, yeah.
Oh, God, that's so annoying when people do that.
Okay, so here's the question.
Wait, when I was growing up, everyone always be like, there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza. And apparently this is not a song people know like outside of Texas or the South.
We sang that at a Montessori school.
In
Georgia.
In Georgia. I think it's a Southern thing because people here are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the only song that anyone ever sang to me. And now I guess there's a girl named Iliza in Hamilton. Wouldn't know. Haven't seen it. Don't care. Don't at me. Eliza. I was here first. Kick it. What?
Not before that song, but yes, before Hamilton.
I was here before the song. The song is not as old as Hamilton.
No, the Liza Bucket song.
Oh,
that Bucket song is old school.
Also, that girl did exist before me. Also, none of these are spelled Iliza.
No, you're the only one.
So eat a turd, everyone. I'm sorry.
Oh. You know how people without children say things like, I would never feed my kid non-organic food, or my kids will play at least one instrument and something like that. And when they have kids, they have to eat their words. Can you please make such a statement? Make it big, make it bold. I will be here for you and remind you when the time comes. Love from Sweden.
That is such a weird
challenged.
Yeah, like a weird Swedish finger trap. Why would I want to do that? Why would I paint myself into a parental corner? I am always the first to be like, I don't have kids, so I don't know XYZ. You know, I don't know. Let me think. What would I like to declare?
That you think is way too, like, declare something ridiculous, but that maybe you actually would want.
Ridiculous?
Like, my kid's going to go to space.
I don't think it's that. I mean, that's not ridiculous that you would hope that your kid would eat all organic. You'd hope your kid would play an instrument. My kid's going to be reading at 1 month.
They can't hold a book up at 1 month with their tiny little hands.
Every month I read to my eggs. I don't have a declaration like that. What a weird Swedish question.
My declaration is I'm going to start massaging Gracie. Because I
Stop
read
with
about
the
it on
cat.
the internet.
No one's talking about the cat. What are you talking? Am I missing this? I thought it was supposed to be like, my kid will know the difference between.
It's supposed to be something like a little bit difficult. So like only eat organic food. Like in practice, you're probably not going to do that.
My kid will eat no sugar.
Oh.
As I chomped down on a very stale bag of Skittles last night in a flavor profile that I wasn't even a fan of.
Ew.
I was just sitting there in the car, it was like a cigarette break, but with Skittles. And they're hard, and it was cold outside, so they're hard, and I'm just chomping on them. It was
Where'd
the blue
you get them?
country store, and it was the blue bag. So it's like that tropical flavors, and they were bad, and I'm just eating it. And the whole time I'm just like, I have a sugar addiction, and I manage it, but like I'm almost 38 and I still crave a bag of Sour Patch Kids every week. And I don't have junk food in the house or anything, but it's a part of who I am. And I'm not going to give it up. I work out, I eat right, but I love candy. I love it. I do my best. So I figure you'd be like Noah. Noah like doesn't eat any sugar. And as a kid, I guess he ate and then he stopped. Like he loves Hearts of Palm. Like that's a sweet treat to him. I think he's from like a Russian sleeper cell camp. I think that they planted him here and they're like, American. He's like, hey, American friends, Hearts of Palm. Good times.
Did he ever finish that teeny ice cream you got him?
Last night, I got him this ice cream a week ago. And he's like, oh, not too much pleasure. He flogs himself. He treats himself like he's in solitary confinement. He'll take a Snickers, he'll freeze it, and he'll nibble off of it. It takes him like 2 months to finish one. And I'm just sitting here horking down whole bags of Skittles in the car in the parking lot of the store. I love it. I can't help it. Fresh bag of Sour Patch Kids. Little dab will do you. My child won't eat sugar and will say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and will be a proficient balloonist.
A kid saying ma'am freaks me out a little bit. I'm like,
here's why it's a good idea. Because it teaches immediate contrition. No, it teaches It teaches respect. And I think if you come from, you don't have to do it, especially in California. Nobody cares because everyone's just like a hug. Everyone's just like, how are you feeling? Your emotions matter more than anything kind of thing. Teaching your kids yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, while it is a little severe, it does put you, I think if you come from like an unassuming, unarmed position, I think you get a little bit farther with some types of people in life. It's just easy just to show deference to older people. Or if somebody is feeling powerless and you say, yes, ma'am, then they feel like, oh, this person's respecting me, even if you actually don't. It's just a thing that's very easy to do. And your kid's probably going to grow up to be a piece of shit, especially in Los Angeles. So put a little bit of the fear of God in them just so they aren't garbage. So many kids here are, and look, I don't have kids. So many kids are just garbage. And it's just like it's so just, there's no emphasis placed on the fact that like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have a BMW at 10 or a tablet at 2. I understand it's impossible to keep screens and TVs away from kids, but like, I just think because so many people here are so damaged and then their kids are damaged. If anybody is offended by that, like find the lie. This is Jackson. He sleeps in the master bedroom and we sleep on the floor. This is my son, Cranston. We got him a Tesla, but it drives himself. He's 5. Organic goose milk. Kick it.
MC_Hesh has a new twist on an old classic. Is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco?
No.
The taco part I've never heard.
You are going to get so many white people angry on behalf of Mexicans for culturally appropriating the taco. It's not a taco. A taco is a soft or hard shell wheat or flour Mexican thing.
Corn.
Wheat. Corn.
I can't believe you said wheat first.
I meant to say corn.
I love a wheat taco.
So that's really a wrap. Then you're getting into pita territory. I think of a taco. I mean,
I haven't had a pita bread in so long.
A hot dog bun hinges. A taco doesn't. It's continuous. Hot dog bun hinge. That's how you remember it. Hot hinge. It's just different things.
Okay. Maillarded.
Never write into the show again.
Maillarded. How do you see the long-term effect on stand-up comedy of this pandemic? Would you join Chappelle and Rogan for a ranch gig at Stubbs Barbecue?
No, considering Dave Chappelle just got COVID. So that's probably... Yes, I mean, of course I would go to do a gig outdoors that was safe, and it's probably a freak thing that he got it. And he had been doing shows on his property in Ohio for a very long time and testing everyone. So, it's just sort of an odds game that he was playing.
The problem is that these rapid tests have been proved to only be 60% accurate. So
I mean, it had been working thus far, but you are tempting fate. But that aside from Rogan and Chappelle, I think, and I know the way it's affecting it, venues are like, we're booking out venues, rebooking, rescheduling, trying to stay ahead of the curve, because you have to book these dates a year in advance anyway, because it's not just stand-up that performs at theaters. There's bands, there's poetry readings, whatever. So you're constantly challenging for these dates, and it's an ever-evolving thing, and a lot of venues are only open at half capacity. So you're making less money. You're seeing less people, maybe even doing more shows. You're making less money per show because they can only, seat, like it matters if you see people 2 people away, even 2 seats away, even if you're in an enclosed space. But so smaller shows is what we're seeing. A lot of companies reneged on all of the deals we had in place because they were losing money. So we all had to renegotiate everything. So it's a hit. People think just because you're on TV, you must be a bajillionaire and life is good. And yes, I'm doing fine and I manage my money and I don't spend what I don't have and I am a celebrity. But like last night, I was just like, what a fucking waste. Like we were just looking at what we have laid out and everything pushed. And you work so hard your whole career to get to a place where you're making, it's not about the money, but you do work to a place where you're able to, entertain 5,000 people at a time, 7,000 and make this great money. And it's all just been decimated. And it is heartbreaking because I feel like I've worked really hard and I was just getting to this nice sweet spot. And I'm back where I was a couple years ago now. And it's really upsetting, all because people refuse to believe in science and people are selfish. And our president at the time just did not lead us, and people just don't take it seriously. And I just watch people, I'm just flying over here. I'm doing this. I'm going to my friend's wedding. Everybody's being so selfish. And we all have to act like, we all have to always talk about like the working man and farmers and how this affects like people who worked in enclosed spaces. And it's always about blue collar things, but this affects everyone. My career, I've said this before, was gutted and it came to a screeching halt because of this. And yes, you can pivot and you can do Don't Panic Pantry and you can do other things, but people have robbed me of my career and my joy because they just refuse to be selfless. And it's a shame. It's a fucking waste of a life. It's a waste of a career, a big chunk of it. And it's really upsetting. So yeah, on a personal level, that's how I feel. Sorry to bring it down, but that's my reality. Playing Lubbock for 12 people.
Queen Sierra. Hi, y'all. Keeping it brief as possible. I was fired recently, and I want to know your thoughts on if this was justified.
Ooh,
I was a new waiter.
Yeah.
I was a
You
new
were a
waiter.
waiter? Where? Where are there
and
waiters?
only got to work there 2 months. During that time, my dad died, and a few weeks later, I got the stomach flu and was worried it was COVID. I took off of work for these things and received an email asking me if I'd like to cut back my hours or pause my employment and come back later. They also claimed that I was late several times, which was not true at all. I emailed back declining to cut back my hours or pause employment and also wanted to clarify that I was never late. I did this by briefly detailing the situations that led up to their email so that there was a record of my experiences and to assure them that I am a reliable employee barring unforeseeable circumstances. I don't think they took kindly to that, telling me that part of their reply was completely unnecessary. A month later, I was asked the day before to come in on Christmas Eve. I said, I will come in if you need me, but I did already have plans. Is there anyone else you can ask? They said they'd get back to me, and that night I was fired. I was told many times that I was doing an amazing job and that I'd get keys to the place soon. Also, they hired someone else to replace me, so I know it's not about the money. I feel very slighted by them and want to hear your thoughts on the situation. Thank you. That's tough.
That's tough because we only know your side of it. I don't know if you actually were late. I can tell you.
Let's say she wasn't late.
Let's say you weren't late. From an employer standpoint, you know, I guess you not cutting back your hours. So I'm so sorry that your dad died. That is horrible. I wonder if it was like, did he die? Did you leave them enough notice? Or did he die and you were like, I just can't come in, and they had no one to schedule? And for your stomach flu, was it like night before? Hey, I'm not feeling well. And, you know, stomach flu only lasts like a couple hours, like 48 hours or something. It sounds like you may have had someone in the office who wasn't a fan, or maybe one of the other waiters complained or something. The late thing, it's odd that they would say that. But let's say you weren't late. It just sounds like unfortunate circumstances. But from I guess a scheduler's point of view, you know, they're like, we don't want your excuses. We just want you in.
Right.
I'm just saying from the yeah.
And the Christmas Eve thing kind of gave them an excuse because they're just like, well, now you're healthy, but you just want to do something else.
But she did say she would.
Right. But I think they were just like, oh, we don't want to go back and forth anymore.
You know, I think it's one of those brutal industries where there's so much turnover and they just need someone that's reliable. And the dad thing was unfortunate. And I don't know how you said, hey, I can't come in. And I don't know how long you took off for. And the stomach flu may have been right after that. So all they're seeing is like a gap in the schedule. And there's so, you know, so what I would do if I were you is just let it lie and move on. I have a friend who was a bartender. And there was another bartender who like had it out for her. And even though everyone loved her, she claims, my friend, she was fired. Even though the other bartender was a total bitch and all this stuff. And I'm like, she was like, I'm going to sue them. And I'm like, you're going to spend so much money and time in this litigation. Like, just move on. I'm not saying you're saying that. Move on. There are so many. First of all, I'm like, where do you live? What rural town do you live in that you're able to be a waiter? That's great that you had a job. Move on.
The timing was just
the timing's unfortunate,
having nothing to do with you. Probably,
you don't know.
Honestly,
you don't know if maybe they saw you do something that you weren't aware of, or they're just like, look, we can't keep. There's always an issue. People are very unforgiving when it comes to personal issues, and I know that we were making fun of the lady that pretends to have all those medical issues, but from a scheduler's perspective, It's like, oh, her father died and she took off, and then her stomach was hurt, and then she said she wouldn't. So they start to kind of build a case against you. And by the way, the people that are saying you're doing great, no one's going to say to your face you're doing bad. And it could be two warring factions. Could be one manager liked you, two waitresses didn't. You don't know. And you'll never know. Just move on. It doesn't matter. None of those people are going to be working there in a year. It's the service industry. It's impermanent. So just move on. Good news is your dad's not going to die twice. So you'll never have that excuse again. And you can start at the new job. Fresh face.
Lee Stevenson, 19. My question is simple, like most of my questions in the past, but I feel important. When I go to the bathroom, I close the top lid before I flush. My mom taught me as a kid that millions of germs would land on my toothbrush if I didn't.
Yeah.
Yet my brother and dad never followed suit.
Why is your toothbrush so close to your toilet bowl? Like, I rest my toothbrush on the rim.
Do you close the top lid before you flush? And if you don't, meh, but maybe listeners will wonder about all the extra, because let's be honest, we all get some, but extra fecal fragments they could not transfer directly on their toothbrush.
First of all, get your toothbrush away from your toilet. Don't.
I have my toothbrush is near my toilet because that's the space that I'm limited to.
You're like, because I brush my teeth in the tank of my toilet. It's fresh water. Everyone thinks it's gross, but it's really not unless you take an upper decker. Now, my toilet is in a separate part of the bath. It's not near the sink, so I don't worry about it. However,
excuse you.
Well, excuse you, and you guys should know fecal matter, you cannot get away from it. It is everywhere. You scratch your butt.
Phone is where
it's on your phone. It's in your tushy. Whatever. That being said, especially if you like dump out, you should for sure shut that lid. You should definitely shut the lid. It's not something, you just have a quick little piddle. It's okay, especially if you drink a lot of water. It's mostly water. But yes, that stuff is jumping out and making its home in your face, on your hands, on your clothes. If you can shut it, you should. You get a bowl full of turds and you're like, I'll just flush it and let that geyser flow. Definitely shut your toilet lid if you have one. Some people don't have that kind of money. Some people's toilets don't come with lids. It's a tornado.
That's the next sci-fi movie.
Hurricane Katrina.
No.
Yeah, I'm ready. Kick it.
People died. Are you ready for Top of the Cob?
People are dying from fecal matter in their teeth. Don't rinse your toothbrush in your toilet. Kick it.
It's the Top of the Cob. We're doing it right every day. You just take a bite. Top of the Cob.
Top of the Cob.
Oh, Top of the Cob. I'm going to start with my Top of the Cob. I desperately want to be a tea person, even though I think tea is lame, because it's something that you can interact with and drink that, isn't sugary and doesn't have, I choose ones without caffeine because I really can only have one cup of coffee a day because then my stomach starts to hurt if I'm just like chugging on coffee. So I got this tea called the Mushroom Hero, and mushroom tea sounds like something that Fred Armisen would drink in Women and Women First on Portlandia, but I like it. It's got adaptogens. All these healing properties. And this one is made with cacao nibs in it. So it feels kind of chocolatey and coffee-y. And I love that I love it. Mushroom Hero he's got spores in his eyes. It's called Mushroom Hero. I'm a mushroom tea drinker. My child doesn't have sugar. Take it.
My Top of the Cob is that I read that you should massage your dogs and your cats. And I thought that was so cute that it can help dogs, like older dogs with joint pain.
Love it.
And a woman said she's a massage therapist and that she started she would go to people's houses and one person, the dog jumped up on the table. And so she was like massaging him. And now her clients will have her do them and then do the dog after. And so I'm going to start getting in there on Gracie.
Tianfu comes up to me and I start rubbing behind her ears and you see her eyes start to close. There is something very satisfying about successfully rubbing your dog in the right place and they just kind of melt because you like to know that you're making them feel good.
And Tianfu's reaction is so satisfying because she starts to her eyes start to close and and you're like, oh, you like this. This is nice.
I've definitely been around one or two women with Blanche where they know the right. I don't know if a human massage therapist is the same as a dog massage therapist, different types of body parts, but where they know exactly where to rub your dog and the dog just kind of melts. And I like that it's like a nice little healing exchange. That being said, I touch her a lot. And last night she growled at me and that's fair. Was she on my bed? Yes. Was I in her face? For sure. Also, try to massage their mouth with your mouth. while screaming. My bottom of the cob is, this is so weird. We have Sonos in our house, the music speakers. This has happened a couple times now. It'll be like 3 a.m. and music will just start playing. And it's not music you recognize. It's like kind of eerie. Noah describes it as the music that you would stage a house to, like just ambient, but it's kind of in a weird key. And there's actually nothing. It's pretty unnerving to wake up to like a weird off-key symphony just playing.
Yeah, like you're about to be purged.
It's not intense music, but it is a little weird. Like and so now we just know it's a Sonos. I don't know if, apparently this is like a bug in Sonos, or like we had one friend who had used our Sonos when they were over and they were playing music very late at their house and it had connected across town to our house. It is a weird thing and we cannot figure out how to fix it. And now we changed our password and it still happened the other night. And now it's at the point where I just wake up, I'm like, the music's playing. And so you just go on your phone and it's playing on your phone. Like your phone just starts playing it. Super weird. So yeah, these are the reasons I don't have Alexa in my house. So it's already haunted. Kick it.
My bottom of the cob, I feel like, is pretty solid, which is having COVID. I'm just by myself.
Yeah, that is the bottomest of cobs.
I can't go into the world. I can't go to the store even. I can't go to McDonald's. I can't do anything. I'm just here waiting to hopefully get a negative test back so I can resume life. But I just am so sick of being in this one room.
All right, you're depressing everyone.
Days.
Yeah, well, you can take a walk.
I'm scared to go out there. I mean, I went in my car to go get the test the other day, but I mean, I have as far as things go, mild case, so I'm very lucky in that regard, but it feels weird to feel like you're fully like in isolation.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who live alone sort of mental health wise struggle with that, you know, even if they don't have corona, just like being in your house. I live with someone and I feel, especially when he goes to bed, I'm like, I'm alone. We're all dying soon. I miss my family. Like the walls do close in on me. So I'm sure that that's exacerbated by living alone, but you'll probably be back to work tomorrow. You're almost done, baby.
Almost.
Quarantined. That's what it is. When you work out during quarantine, you are quarantined. You heard it first. Don't go stealing that like elder millennial. Everyone's using it. No one's crediting me. Pumpkin everything, that's mine too. Giving you guys gems. Quarantined. Also, Emily, I'm sorry, but you're almost done. I mean, you can always check in with me. And you're eating better and you're feeling good.
You've been nice. You've been checking in. You've been nice. You've been my main contact in these trying times.
Despite your kicking, I care about you. Despite you rejecting my touch at every advance, I care. I think we got a lot of questions answered today. Got a lot of follow-ups. I still think about that girl without the tooth. Hope she got a new tooth by now. And
it's going to be a few months.
You got any follow-ups? You got any, once we give you the advice, if you implement it, you want to let us know how it ruined your life, hook it up. If you enjoyed the podcast, maybe not today's episode, but in general, please write us a review. We love the reviews. Really
fun update.
Great.
Lots of people leaving reviews since the last time that we requested. Thank you so much. It is so appreciated. It does make a difference. It allows other people to find the podcast. But they've been leaving a lot of reviews.
And it's not enough. We need more reviews. No, great job. And you know what? A lot more people I've noticed are putting this in their stories and saying, I'm listening to this. Maybe set it up with a link. Maybe send it to a friend that it applies to. You know, we're trying to broaden our horizons. We're getting so many new podcast sponsors, so we're doing great. And we want to share this. We try to give you sound advice. I try to never endorse a product that I think is garbage. I don't want to lie to people. I don't want to be the kind of host that just tells you what you want to hear. We try to keep it authentic. And we're here for you. And hopefully we'll be back on the road soon. What?
Teaser, we do have some mini-sodes with a favorite partner of ours that will be coming soon, and that is because you guys keep supporting those. So
a fan favorite beverage, perhaps in the hard, bubbly category, be coming at you soon. It's seasonal, so summer's just around the corner, weirdly.
Oh, God.
And we're ready. Get quarantined. Sip it.